Good afternoon, and welcome to Wizards World. I'm Jim Redondi, and today we have with us Matthew Zion of Viking Cruises. You may recall back in October that Matthew presented on Viking's new adventures on the Mississippi River, the Great Lakes, and expedition cruises. Today, Matthew joins us again, but he will let us know all about Viking's river and ocean cruises. Please remember to keep yourself on mute to limit the background noise, and if you have any questions, please use the chat box, and we will get to those questions at the end. Welcome, Matthew.
Jim, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Let me share my screen here so everyone can see. It's nice to see some of your faces as well. I miss faces so much. As Jim said, my name is Matthew Zion. I'm the Director of Business Development with Viking Cruises. And today I have the pleasure of introducing you to the world of Viking. As Jim said, my focus today is really going to be more on Viking River. I think that's what most people know us for. We'll take a look at our purpose-built vessels, those award-winning Viking longships, and a few of our itineraries that we sail. The important thing that I really want to get out of today is what sets Viking apart, why we're different than probably any other cruise you may have taken previously. Then we'll change gears and we'll look at Viking Ocean. These are beautiful small class vessels that started sailing in 2015, and we'll look at all of the differences sailing on the ocean with Viking. As always, if you have questions, feel free to use that chat feature. I'll answer any questions at the end of the presentation, but let's dive in, and thank you so much for joining this evening. The difference with Viking, if you've not sailed with us before, is we really do focus on the destination. So we try to spend as much time in each of these ports as possible. This is what I really love about river sailing, is from the moment you wake up until you're going to sleep, we're in port. And most of these cities were really built along the river. This was the highway of the time. So we're steps away from the old world and many things that you might want to see. We focus always on the history, culture, arts, music, and of course the food of everywhere that we travel. It is a cruise. We're privately owned. We're based in Woodland Hills, California. We started back in 1997 on the waterways of Russia, of all places. We've grown to become the largest river cruise line in the world. This is what people really know with Viking, is river sailing. Our philosophy has not changed, though, since 1997. We are not trying to be everything to everyone. We focus on English-speaking audiences and more mature couples. Our average age range is about 55 plus. Not to say you won't find younger people on board. Of course you will, but you'll never find children. 18 is our minimum age, so we do not cater to children or families. We offer a very inclusive product, and I'll definitely review today what's included, what's not. I don't want you to have any surprises whatsoever. We don't believe in nickel and diming. We run very efficient operations, both on board and ashore. We pass those savings along to our guests. We're known as the thinking person's cruise. So it's for more educated, more well-traveled individuals. We'll provide you with reading lists prior to your journey. There are videographies of each of the different destinations. If you haven't yet, write this down or just try to remember Viking.tv. You put that into your browser. It is a wonderful resource. Jim and I were actually just talking about it. Our resident historians give weekly lectures. In this time when we're not able to travel, it's a wonderful way to virtually travel and explore the world of Viking. And that's at Viking.tv. It's just been a wonderful thing. I think there's a silver lining that comes out of everything. And it's been a wonderful collaborative effort on Viking's part during this downturn. Now, let's jump in and let's take a look at river sailing. As I mentioned, we started in Russia. Of course, we still do sail there, but we're best known for those beautiful waterways all throughout Europe. I'll share a few of those with you today, but of course, we also sail in Portugal, Vietnam, Cambodia, Egypt. The world of Viking continues to grow. What's nice as we look to return to sailing safely, we've got more than 2 decades of experience doing this, and we don't build large ships. We are the small ship experts. It's all the amenities of a fine hotel, very elegant, very intimate, We've been very strategic as we've grown into this large line. We own and operate our entire fleet. We also have purchased the prime docking locations all throughout Europe. So you're typically steps away from every place that you might want to see or go and visit. And we also own our motor coaches. So if you book your flights through Viking Air and, of course, Jim, then we take care of the transfers. The transfers are included. We have contracted rates with every major airline. Somebody greets you at the airport, places you on our motor coach, takes you to our dock, and you board the vessel. We really maintain that level of service and contact all throughout your voyage, and of course, do the same thing on the back end. Let's talk about food. It's almost dinner time here, and it is a cruise. Food's an important part of every cruise I've ever been on. It's no different with Viking. What is a little different is the chefs go out to the local market and bring the food back. So you're getting a taste and a flavor of everywhere that you're traveling through. There's always standard American options, so don't get too afraid if you're not very adventurous, but we want to introduce you to the food and drink of the region that you're sailing through. And a question I get almost every day is why Viking versus any of the other competitors? For me, it is the level of service, the level of detail. Every aspect of your journey has been carefully curated for you. It really is the staff that makes the difference. I think the fact that we're privately owned, the staff is treated like family, the retention rate speaks for itself. It's a 90% retention rate year over year. And as far as onboard enrichment, we do provide lectures. There's an included shore excursion at each port of call, again, about going deeper into the destination of everywhere that you're visiting. As far as these shore excursions, they'll each fall under one of these three categories. And this is Viking River, Viking Ocean, Expedition. No matter when you're sailing with the Viking, each of the excursions will typically be a local life, working world, or privileged access, where we actually have made arrangements with organizations throughout the world where our Viking guests have access to areas that are off limits to the general public, or we have access to areas before the general public. And we call that privileged access through Viking. One huge advantage is it's your vacation. You can really decide how adventurous or how leisurely you want to be. All of the shore excursions will typically fall under easy, moderate, or demanding. You will know the ability level prior to signing up. Very important slides here. What is included, what's not? You always have the one shore excursion at each port of call. It is a local guide, not somebody from the ship, not somebody from the United States, somebody who's typically born and raised in each of these beautiful regions that you're sailing through. Small groups, 20 to 30 people. If it's a smaller port, it's typically a walking tour. If it's a larger port, say Vienna, for instance, we have motor coaches that will take you around and show you all of the highlights. All of the meals are provided in the overall value. So it's gourmet breakfast, lunch, dinner, locally sourced. With those meals, it's free-flowing beer, wine, and soft drinks. You have to tell the staff to stop refilling your glass. They'll continue to pour. At any point, if you want a specialty coffee, a tea, bottled water, that's available 24 hours a day, as is Wi-Fi. That's fleet-wide. So if you want to remain connected, you can. There's no daily fee or connection charge. If you book a pre or post extension, come in a couple of days early, stay a couple of days later. It's always a first-class hotel right in the heart of the city. We take care of the transfers, breakfast each morning, and there's always a Viking concierge beyond any of the staff at the hotel. In-room infotainment, movies on demand, cable television, all provided without any additional fees or charges. And the price that you pay covers port fees, taxes, and charges. So we never start with that introductory rate and then tack all of this on at the end. If you're doing a comparison, make sure you're comparing apples for apples. What's not covered would be optional excursions. So if you choose anything above and beyond the included, that is additional, and gratuities. As far as gratuities, very flexible. You can prepay them if you wish. You can tack them onto the bill at the end. You can pay them in cash. So very flexible, just not included in the overall value. Now let's look at how you will actually be sailing with Viking along the rivers. We'll be on one of our award-winning state-of-the-art longships. Here's what is the great thing with Viking is we have sister fleets. So no matter where you're sailing throughout Europe, it will be virtually the same vessel. Our longship fleet has more than 70 in our fleet, and there are really very discernible differences. Some modifications based upon the river, but for the most part, it's going to be the same exact look and feel no matter where you're sailing. 190 guests. There are 4 decks, 3 interior and a beautiful roof deck. And there are 5 different categories of staterooms that you can choose from, which of course I'll show you. Once on board, and this is no matter which Viking vessel you're on, it's a serene Scandinavian space. So what does that mean? It's floor to ceiling glass windows, light, bright spaces, I think more minimal design style. It's about bringing the outdoors in. We literally bring the timbers on board. So if you're looking for formal dining, butlers, white gloves, or brass, I can tell you right now, we probably are not the right line for you. We understand you're on vacation. Relaxation is a key component of everything that we do. No activity on board, no dining experience requires any type of formal attire whatsoever. Here's the guest services concierge available 24 hours that can build out your day or itinerary for you. The atrium on board is typically where we embark and disembark the vessel. This is where the vast majority of staterooms are located as well, here on the middle and upper decks of the ship. The restaurant we placed on the middle deck, we did this so that you get the floor to ceiling glass windows. Table for 2, a table for 10 can all be accommodated. There's no set dining time. So if you've sailed where you have early seating, late seating, that does not occur with Viking. Just arrive within the hours that we're serving. Upstairs, beautiful lounge and bar. As far as the bar, I want to touch on this. I think a big advantage with Viking, and a lot of people aren't aware of this, is we have no corkage fee. I had never experienced this on another cruise before until sailing Viking. If you pick up something local, beer, wine, spirits, and we're going through some beautiful wine regions all throughout Europe, you can bring it back on board. We won't confiscate it. No corkage. Take it right to the bar. They'll open it for you. Every single stateroom has a refrigerator. In addition, reach out to Jim if you have questions. We do offer our Silver Spirits beverage package. I find great value in it. Personally, it's about $20 per person per day. It opens up the entire wine list to you as well as open bar. So just based on your preferences, you certainly have many different options. Nice little dance floor. We bring on local entertainers to perform where we're able to. Wrapping around the bar is the lounge. There's a baby grand piano on each ship, and there are entertainers who also travel on board with you during your journey. Aquavit Lounge is a little bit more forward on this upper deck. A nice, I think, more relaxed dining experience, even though we don't have formal dining in the standard dining room, but yet another dining option. And the Aquavit Terrace is that signature component. You find an Aquavit Terrace on every Viking vessel. It's located all the way forward. It's my favorite spot on board. Even when we're not sailing, I love to sit here and just take in my surroundings. There's rocking chairs. If it's a little cooler, there are blankets and heaters. The library on board is curated to the itinerary that you're on. So it will feature books on the history, culture, arts. It's that level of detail, again, that Viking goes to. And upstairs is a great sun deck. When we're doing some scenic sailing, we do a lot of scenic sailing in the morning or in the evening, typically trying to give you as much time in port as possible. I love to come up here and have my coffee in the morning or a nice glass of wine in the evening. After dinner, there's a nice walking track. And a little further back, you'll find an organic herb garden. The chef literally picks the herbs that are prepared in the meals, and you can practice a little shuffleboard or putting. Staterooms. Let's look at the 5 categories that you can choose from. Here's where I think the details really do shine with Viking. There are queen beds in each of our river vessels. So this bed can be separated to 2 twin beds if you wish, or you can have the full queen. There are drawers to fully unpack, a refrigerator and safe in each of the rooms. You have a full closet to hang items, and your luggage slides right underneath the bed. Bathrooms are absolutely beautiful as well. You have glass French doors that lead into the shower, heated bathroom floors. We take it a step further. We even heat the mirror in the bathroom. So when the shower steams up, the mirror never fogs up. It's that level of detail. Okay, first category is our standard stateroom. This is the most economical. It's only located on the first deck of the ship. You do have a window. It's much larger than a porthole. Something to note is this window is not operational. You cannot open it, but everything is exterior facing, no interior rooms whatsoever. Bathroom amenities in each of the rooms. Here's the level of detail that Viking goes to. I think this is my mother's favorite part of Viking. Each of the amenities, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, lotion, they're larger bottles. They're easy to open. They are color-coded in large font. We know our demographic. So if you do not have your readers on, you still know what you're putting on your bodies. All right, if you want more of a view, French balcony is a great option. These are located middle and upper decks. French balcony has a beautiful floor-to-ceiling sliding glass door. It opens up, you get fresh air in the room. You're able to lean out, but you cannot step out. It opens to a rail. If you want a full balcony, the verandas are the best option. Again, middle and upper decks. Now you have your own private balcony. You can step out and sit down. You'll find 2 chairs and a small table. The suites, I think, are the best on the rivers. They're a true 2-room suite. Off of the bedroom, what you can't see is that French balcony slider with the rail. Here off of the living room is a full balcony. Because you traveled all the way to Europe to watch TV, we placed one in each of the rooms for you, so there'll be no fighting. And then the bathrooms, just to give you an idea, they're essentially the same layout in every category level, so very well appointed. And then finally, there are 2 Explorer suites on board each longship. These are located aft at the rear of the ship. These are our largest staterooms. They have a beautiful wraparound balcony. You never have any sensation of cruising while on the river. So if you're concerned about seasickness, that does not occur. And these are a state-of-the-art fleet. So they have hybrid engines, solar panels, no roar of the engine. I'm fine placing you at the rear of the vessel. And the Explorer suites, I think, have one of the wildest bathrooms I've seen. This is a floor-to-ceiling glass window in the shower. So I'm advising now there is a button that you can press that will turn this glass opaque. Otherwise, anyone along the shoreline is getting a lovely show. All right, let's look at just a few. There are simply too many different itineraries to go over in any kind of detail. I think a great starter, if you're wondering where should we start, it's a question I get many times. The Rhine getaway is kind of that fairy tale voyage. It's what you see on all of the advertising. This is an 8-day itinerary traversing from Amsterdam to Basel, Switzerland, or vice versa. It goes in both directions, Basel up to Amsterdam. You're in a different port of call every single day. We visit Kinderdijk, those iconic Dutch windmills. We go into the Black Forest. It is a beautiful itinerary with castles. It's like stepping into the storybook, if you will. The one thing I would recommend with the Rhine is please, if you're able to, come in early or stay later in Amsterdam. Without it, I just don't think you get enough time in one of my absolute favorite cities. Perfect sequel is the Danube. Romantic Danube traverses from Budapest to Regensburg, Germany, or vice versa, Regensburg to Budapest. Now, what I love about this itinerary is we get quite a bit of time in some beautiful cities. We overnight in Budapest, we overnight in Vienna, and we overnight in Regensburg, Germany. So the ship essentially acts as a hotel here. You've got prime docking location. You get a lot more time to see and do things. In Vienna, the evening that you spend there, there's an optional Mozart and Strauss concert. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's one optional excursion I'll always unilaterally recommend. Everybody I know who has done it simply loves it. And then finally, the Grand European Tour. My family took this almost a year and a half ago now. Beautiful itinerary. Sometimes if you're going to go all the way to Europe, you want to spend a little bit more time than just 8 days. This is a 15-day voyage. It traverses from Amsterdam to Budapest or vice versa, Budapest to Amsterdam, traveling along the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube. So it's kind of a combination cruise of the 2 that we just looked at. And again, these are 3 of a multitude of different itineraries. Please reach out to Jim or your advisor for more information on any of them. We visit Portugal, France, south of France, Lyon and Provence, many, many different itineraries to choose from. And then briefly, I know we chatted about this in October. Starting in 2022, we'll begin sailing on the Mississippi. We're We're taking everything we learned from more than 2 decades of river sailing experience and bringing it to our domestic waterway. It's our first US-built ship. It's something that has literally been about a decade in the making. Beautiful vessel, small craft. You can see very few guests, the same crew to guest ratio, that level of service and detail. No matter where you're sailing throughout the world, all of our staff is Swiss trained. So that same level of service and detail will be there. We've built out 5 different itineraries that sail along the Mississippi, traversing from St. Paul all the way to New Orleans or vice versa. They're done in segments or the full length. And it is based upon seasonality as to when these are offered. So for more details, pricing, availability, please reach out to your advisor. All right, let's switch gears. Let's take a look at Viking Ocean. We started our ocean fleet in 2015. We've now grown to become the largest small ship cruise line in the world. Here's my favorite slide. This is what we do not do. It is such a different experience cruising on Viking Ocean. We have no casinos on board. Our focus is history, culture, arts, music. We never want you feeling captive on board the ship. There are no children. 18 is the minimum age. Kind of a silly one, but there's no umbrella drinks. We'll make you a beautiful cocktail. It'll never have that little foo-foo umbrella. Many of the gimmicky upcharges that you might become very accustomed to if you're familiar with cruising, such as photographers. There's no professional photography on board. Nobody's interrupting your dinner, trying to take a picture, sell it to you later. No art auctions either. We have beautiful art on board. At no point are we ever trying to sell it. No charge for beer and wine with the meals. No charge for specialty dining, alternative restaurants. Big thing in the industry. We offer it. There's no upcharge. You simply have to make a reservation. Wi-Fi is included. Self-service laundry is available on every residential deck. Throw a load in. We don't charge for the soap. No entrance fee for the spa, my favorite spot on board. There's nobody pressuring you to book a facial or a massage. You can simply go and enjoy the facility. No interior staterooms. Our ocean fleet is an all veranda vessel. So every single category, every single stateroom has a private balcony that you can step out and sit down. No smoking, no waiting in lines. It's only 930 passengers on board. No formal nights, butlers, white gloves, and as always, no nickel and diming. We are taking everything we learned from river sailing and applying this to ocean sailing, which is kind of why I like to start with river and then we'll move over to ocean. Again, it's a sister fleet. So no matter which of our ocean vessels you're on, you'll have the same great experience no matter where you're traveling. They visit 6 different continents throughout the world. We try to spend as much time in port as possible. Just like with our rivers, we overnight where we're able to. And because of the size of our ships, we're able to dock in some phenomenal, really centrally located berths that those large mega ships simply cannot do. Let's talk about food. I'm getting more hungry as this goes on. 8 different dining options on board. The big takeaway, there's no fee or charge for any of them. I'll show you these in greater detail. That includes 24-hour room service, great pool grill if you get hungry for just good old American food. Here is the fleet. 930 guests, 465 staterooms on board, all veranda. The one question I get is, all right, what is there to do on the ship? If there's no casino, are we going to be bored? By no stretch of the imagination. There's a full theater. They do productions every evening, 2 cinemas on board. There is a resident historian who gives lectures every day about the region that we're traveling through. We do a high tea that's all included. Let's take a look at some of these spaces. The atrium, here's what I love. We have the luxury of space that we do not have on the river. We have to be able to fit through the canals and locks. On the ocean, we've got a lot more space to have some fun. Beautiful 3-deck atrium. We have a string quartet that plays here in the evening. I like to sit in the living room, which wraps here around the atrium, have a drink, listen to the string quartet. There's art. Let me bounce back. At the top of the stairs, art is displayed on this beautiful interactive screen, and it's all based upon the itinerary. I literally feel like I'm just sitting right in somebody's home. The Explorer's Lounge is one of my favorite bars. It's located forward on the ship. You have these beautiful panoramic floor-to-ceiling glass windows. It looks out onto the bow of the vessel. And stairs, you get a beautiful bird's eye view on the upper deck of the Explorer's Lounge. I listened to the historian here as we were pulling out of Stockholm, had a wonderful cocktail, and learned quite a bit about the archipelago of islands that we were traveling through. It was a phenomenal journey. The Winter Garden. We actually won an Architectural Digest Award for this space. It's made to feel like you're sitting underneath the tree of life. Here's where we have our high tea every day. It's the 3 tiers, clotted cream, scones. We even have a tea sommelier on board who curates all of the teas that are served. Just beyond that's the first of our 3 pools. This is the main pool. Hopefully you've got some great weather. We can roll back that solarium. We even do movies under the stars at night. The second pool is our infinity pool. It's located aft at the rear of the vessel. This is an industry first. We are the first to install one on our ships. It literally will feel like you're going to swim right off the edge into the ocean. And the third is my favorite pool, the thermal pool here in the spa. You can see a beautiful fire effect at the end here. There's a hot tub. The level of detail in the spa is unbelievable. Your room key locks or unlocks a locker. Inside, Viking's thought of everything. There are shower shoes, there's a towel, there's a place to put your jewelry. Straight ahead, you can see the dry sauna. There's also a wet steam, which is not pictured. And then in the corner, up the stairs, in true Scandinavian style, is a cold plunge. So you go from the hot into the cold, or no matter where you are in the world, it snows on board every day. There is a snow grotto. You can literally roll in the snow, use it to exfoliate, and then get right back in the hot tub or the sauna. The restaurant is just like our river fleet. It's taking that same experience to the ocean level. So table for 2, table for 10, no set dining time, no early seatings, no late seatings, and no formal dining. Manfredi's is my favorite dining experience on board. This is one of our 2 reservations where you do have to have a reservation that's required for our specialty dining, but no charge. Unbelievable Italian restaurant, beautiful appetizers, one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life. You have a gorgeous kind of open air kitchen here that's on display. And if you are traveling with some friends or family, once on board, you can actually reserve this little private dining room within the restaurant as well. Many people don't know about that. The chef's table is our second specialty dining restaurant, just requiring the reservation. It's a prefix menu, multi-course. Each course is paired with different wines. The menu here changes about every 2 to 3 days. So when you go to make your reservation, you can see the genre or the type of food that will be served. Mamsen's, very sweet little spot. It's a true Norwegian deli. Torstein Hagen, our chairman, as you can imagine, is Norwegian. This area was named after his grandmother. In fact, on the back wall, you can actually see a picture of Grandma, and she's pulling a sled with our chairman, Tor, in it. When you dine here at Mamsen's, you're dining on replications of all of Grandma's china, and you're having all of her recipes. So it really is a fun little spot. The Aquavit Terrace should look familiar. This is that area at the bow of the ship on our longships. We have it here on our ocean fleet as well. We have the most alfresco dining of any ocean ship. It's a wonderful place just to come and sit and enjoy your meal. Now, let's look at the staterooms. You have 5 that you can choose from as well. So 5 different categories on river, 5 different categories on ocean. Here's what changes with Viking Ocean. The way we book our shore excursions and the way we book specialty dining is based upon the cabin category. So with ocean, there are some advantages other than size to booking into higher cabin categories. Our most economical is a standard veranda. These are the last to book shore excursions, and you must wait until you're on board to book any type of specialty dining. There is a refrigerator in each of the rooms. In the standard veranda, the refrigerator is not stocked daily. It'll be stocked one time, but it's not replenished. If you were my family or my client, at a minimum, I'm going to say, please start with the deluxe veranda. The deluxe veranda is actually the same room. It's the same square footage. What changes are the amenities. The price point is not a huge jump up. With the deluxe veranda, you're now able to book shore excursions sooner. You're able to book one reservation at each of the specialty dining restaurants prior to boarding. The refrigerator in the stateroom is stocked daily with soft drinks and snacks at no additional charge. And the biggie for me is you now have a coffee maker in the room, which you don't have in the standard veranda. So go with the deluxe at a minimum. Here's what the standard and deluxe look like. You have a king bed now on the Ocean Fleet. The bed can still be separated to 2 twins if you wish, 2 club chairs, a beautiful private balcony that you can step out onto and sit down. Third category, penthouse veranda. First time we see an increase in square footage. You're able to book shore excursions sooner, 2 reservations at each of the specialty dining prior to boarding. Shoe shine pressing service, a bottle of champagne included. The refrigerator is now stocked daily, not only with soft drinks and snacks, but also alcoholic beverages. And you can see the difference. You have a couch, club chair, and a little bit more expansive private veranda. My favorite category is a penthouse junior suite. It's the first time I can feel the difference in the square footage, 405 square feet. You have all the advantages of the suite level without the price tag. So it includes laundry, dry cleaning, shoe shine, and pressing services. Look at the difference. You've got a bedroom, you've got the separated living area. And then I think to save any marriage, the first category with dual vanity in the bathroom. Well worth it right there. And then finally, our Explorer Suites being our 5th category. These are the largest staterooms on board. They vary in square footage based upon their location on the vessel, and they really do have all the advantages of the ship, beautiful sitting areas, very expansive private verandas. And the Explorer Suites are the only category to have a true separate soaking tub. So if that's important to you, you'll want to book an Explorer Suite. And then finally, we've all been stuck in our homes for months upon months. You might just want to splurge and go for the one owner suite on board, 1,448 square feet. This is bigger than my condo in Burbank. It has a boardroom that seats 12, but it's still just built for 2. It is stunning. I have seen it. It's tours private quarters. So you literally have your own apartment on board. And it has a very expansive private outdoor veranda and a private ocean view sauna, because that's utterly necessary. All right, let's look at a few of the different voyages. Again, we visit 6 different continents. This is where going through Jim or your advisor is going to be absolutely imperative. If we're able to sail there, I guarantee you we have our sights set on it. Something we're very well known for is the Baltic. This is our homelands itinerary. It is one of the best cruises, hands down, I've ever done. 15 days. What I find remarkable about this homelands tour of the Baltic is in 15 days, you have 1 day at sea. So I think that really does show how port intensive cruising with Viking is. We overnight in Stockholm, Sweden. We overnight in St. Petersburg, Russia. We overnight in Bergen, Norway. We even visit in Berlin. Berlin is by no means a port city. What we do here is we actually charter a private train, and the train pulls up right beside the ship. You walk off the ship onto the train, and we take you right into the heart of the city. It's an amazing way to visit Berlin. You do not need to have a visa to visit Russia on this itinerary. You're covered under the blanket visa of the vessel. So you just have to stay with a guided tour. But it is beautiful. You go through the fjords of Norway, Aalborg. I did a wonderful home visit. If you ever have the opportunity to do a home visit excursion with Viking, I recommend it. 2 beautiful ladies. I still remember their name almost 3 years later. We did shots of aquavit with them in the morning, which will definitely wake you up if you weren't awake before. The Mediterranean, very popular. Our 8-day Mediterranean is the most popular itinerary that we have. It traverses from Barcelona to Rome, or vice versa, Rome to Barcelona. We overnight in Barcelona. We overnight in Florence, Pisa. You visit the south of France. Monte Carlo, you can get your gambling in there, ending in Rome. You definitely want to extend or come in early to Rome. Without it, you're going to miss many of the sites there. I recommend, if you've got the time, a little bit longer, 13-day Barcelona to Venice, the Mediterranean Odyssey itinerary. I think you see so much more in just a few more days. We pick up right where we left off in Rome. We work our way around the boot of Italy. You hit Croatia, that Dalmatian coast, and overnight in Venice. Beautiful, beautiful itinerary. Again, these are just 3 of a whole multitude of itineraries that we have. We have Into the Midnight Sun. that goes from Bergen all the way up to the Arctic, works its way down the Norwegian coast, Iceland, Alaska, the Caribbean. One I'm very excited about, South America and the Chilean fjords. I think it just sounds absolutely spectacular to me. Australia, New Zealand, you name it. Again, I just can't show you everything. To add on to our ocean fleet starting in 2022, we're introducing Viking Expeditions, which we are currently booking, 2 purpose-built ships, very intimate vessels, specific built, new built, 378 guests, 260 crew. They're completely self-sufficient vessels. They're Polar Class 6, meaning we're able to traverse the Arctic as well as Antarctica. They have many of those purpose-built spaces that we've seen on the Viking longships and our Viking Ocean fleet carried over to these 2 expedition vessels. So it should be a very comfortable way of exploring some of the world's most remote regions, which would be our 13-day Antarctic Explorer, as well as our 13-day Arctic Adventure, which goes through Svalbard, Norway, the Arctic Circle, or for those very adventurous, virtually pole-to-pole 44-day Arctic to Antarctica. And again, these start in 2022. The ships were also purpose-built to be able to go through the Welland Canal locks. We'll have about a foot of clearance on either side. This opens up all 5 Great Lakes that we will be able to visit in the off-season. We've built out a 13-day itinerary from New York to Toronto that traverses that St. Lawrence Seaway and Quebec, and then 3 8-day itineraries, this being the most popular, Niagara and the Great Lakes, of course. Each of these 3 8 days does visit Mackinac Island, and you'll have the opportunity to visit each of the 5 Great Lakes. So, in a hopefully relatively short time, you can see how we're now on all 7 continents, 95 countries, 403 ports, 5 oceans, 20 rivers, and 5 Great Lakes. We are well aware of the very different world that we've all been experiencing in the past few months. We want to be sure that you are aware your investment in travel is fully protected when you are ready to invest. It's a complete risk-free guarantee. So no matter when you're sailing, whether it is this year, 2022, or even 2023, you have the ability to cancel all the way up until 24 hours prior to departure for any reason. Should you cancel, all monies that you've paid would be refunded in the form of a future cruise voucher. That voucher is valid for 2 years. You wouldn't even have to sail within 2 years. You'd simply have to book another cruise within 2 years. So provided you feel confident that at some point you will be sailing with Viking, you've got the ultimate flexibility, which is another really great silver lining of this whole new world that we're all experiencing. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please, I implore you to reach out to your advisor for more details, availability, and pricing. Nobody will look over your booking and your future travel like they will. Jim, I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has them.
Okay, well, Matthew, thank you so much. That was just a beautiful presentation. I do appreciate the different views for the rooms, the restaurants, the itineraries. It just looked fabulous. Thank you very much for that. I did want to welcome some new faces. You know, we've been doing this now for a few months, starting in October or September, whenever it was we started. And I see that there's new faces on board, a lot of longstanding clients of Travel Wizards. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. Appreciate that. Matthew, can you go and talk about how far out, you'd mentioned 21 and 22 and 23, how far out can people book, and should they consider something now, not just because of your guarantee that expires at the end of February, but the fact that, you know, a lot of people didn't get to travel last year. They have all these future cruise credits already from the trips that have already been canceled, and so they're starting to rebook. Can you go about the availability and when should we start booking these cruises?
It's always a challenge with Viking because of our small class vessels and the fact that it is in demand. Jim and I were chatting just before this presentation, before everybody joined. Surprisingly, January last month was actually busier as far as bookings than January of last year. So it is definitely looking up because the ships are so small. I do recommend, we typically, even in normal times, will book a good year and a half to 2 years in advance. So it is a very different booking window with Viking than a ship that's going to have 5,000, 6,000 berths. Again, our ocean ships have 930. Our standard long ships only have 190 guests or less. So the earlier the better, especially if it's important to you what type of stateroom or the time of year. I just don't think you can go wrong. And to be honest, your investment's fully protected. So I think we're booking well into 2023 at this stage, so 2 years out.
And then you mentioned also on the concierges that you have at the hotels. And now, are they strictly at the hotel, or is that somebody that will also be joining them on the ship and becomes the concierge on the ship as well?
It's a good question. So we do offer pre and post extensions with almost every single itinerary that we offer. For instance, like going to Amsterdam, I think it's so important. I personally prefer a pre-extension if you want my honest opinion. Of course, you can do a pre or a post extension. And all that means is coming in a couple of days before your cruise or staying a couple of days after. I like to do pre because I love to fly in instead of running right from the airport to the ship. You're going airport to the hotel. You've got some time to kind of get acclimated to the time zone, which, we're traveling quite a distance, get rested, and you can really spend some time in some great cities. Lots of pre's, on almost every itinerary. We even have a great pre-extension to the Highclere Castle down in Abbey for the Rhine getaway now. So many, many different options. At each of the hotels, we want to maintain the level of service and contact that you would have as if you were on the ship. So we do have a Viking concierge beyond anybody who works at the hotel who is there to assist you. Now, they will not travel with you onto the ship, but they will be with you during that pre or post extension.
Oh, very, very good. And then on the alternative or specialty restaurants, I know that you went over them very well and when you can book as far as depending on the stateroom and stuff like that. Are you limited to the number of nights in each particular restaurant, or can you just, I found my favorite and that's the one I want to be in every night?
So you are limited to how many you can make initially. We didn't seek out to make these rules, but to be honest, when we launched our ocean division, what we ended up finding happening is we would have a few couples who would make phantom reservations and nobody would show up. So we had to have some sort of decorum in order to make this work. So yes, you are limited as to how many you could make initially. Here's the great insider tip. Once you get on board, you can make as many additional reservations as you wish. So at the beginning, yes, I guarantee you'll be able to get in some more.
Well, and there was a question that actually came in on the visas for Russia, but I believe you already answered that. It's a blanket visa that is supplied by Viking, so there's no paperwork for them to fill out. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, as long as you're visiting via Viking Ocean. Now, Viking River, you were in Russia the entire time. So for the Russian river cruise waterways of the Tsars, a visa would be required. And that's, again, where working through a travel advisor is very, very beneficial.
Is that something Viking can help the people get, or is that something they need to do on their own?
We are by no means a visa company, but we do work with we recommend a visa service. So Whit and I can go over this with you later. Generations Visa is who we recommend. They know the itineraries and they do it day in and day out.
Okay, and then there's always a question that has come through on these webinars every week, and it usually has to do with the protocols that are in place, at least at this stage of the game, even though you're not sailing. What is Viking doing on board to ensure the safety of the clientele?
Very good question. I was wondering. I could literally give an entire presentation on our health and safety protocols. It's about a 96-page document the last time I saw it. The great thing is we will not return to sailing until we know it is safe to do so. We were the first cruise line to announce the suspension of sailing. We have extended that suspension through April of this year. Of course, it could still be revised. At this juncture, I'm very happy to say we are the very first line to install PCR laboratories on board. So we will be able to test every single passenger and every single crew member daily on our ocean fleet, and we will have the same level of testing available on our river fleet, but we'll have shoreside laboratories. There's just simply no room on the river vessels. So we will be able to test daily. We'll be working with the local authorities as far as the mandates that are there. I think it is an ever-changing, as we know, status, but I am happy, very happy to announce that. Something else that I think is kind of remarkable, and it's just the way Viking builds their vessels. We have no shared air between any of the staterooms or common spaces. So every single unit has its own HVAC, which is wonderful. So no shared air between the units. We've invested in, oh gosh, a multitude of different things on board. The amount of work that's gone into each of these is just unbelievable. And if anybody is interested, I'd be more than happy to do a whole presentation on health and safety. We do have thermal cameras on each of the ships that will be in our common areas. They have facial recognition technology. We'll be able to literally take people's temperatures without them knowing when they're walking throughout the ship. And we even have robots on board that have UVC lights that are sanitizing when guests are asleep. So it's kind of exciting. The techie part of me just thinks it's absolutely remarkable. I know it will be safe to return to sailing. At this juncture, I think we are waiting for the borders to open so we're able to do so.
Wow, I mean, even down to the protocols, you guys really have gone in a very expansive and really thought of every detail. So that's fabulous. So again, Matthew, definitely want to thank you. Do I have any more questions in the chat? Hold on here. No, somebody said they were going to ask a question, but you've already answered it. So you already anticipated
All right.
what these people are asking. So thank you very much for that. Again, everybody, thank you again for showing up and learning about Viking river and ocean cruises tonight. Matthew, thank you once again for doing such a beautiful job on presenting your product and in regards to the destinations and the ships and the safety on board. We definitely appreciate that. And for all of you, next week, we are going to the big island of Hawaii, and we are going to have a multitude of guests speak about things on the big island. So please join us next week. And until then, I wish you all a good evening. Thank you and good night.
Thanks so much. It was great.
Thank you, Kathy. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.